Let's have a look at this exam style question. The question says, Figure 2 shows an epithelial cell from the intestine. This epithelial cell is specialised. Suggest how the cell is specialised to carry out its role as an epithelial cell in the intestine. Now let's start by looking for the command word, and I can see the command word is here, the word suggest. And this means we need to use our knowledge and understanding of how the cell is specialised and adapted to carry out its job. This question is assessing your knowledge and understanding of several topics because it's drawing on specialised cells and adaptations, the digestive system, and transport in and out of cells. So let's start by unpicking some of the information in the question. Now at the top here and further on in the question I can see the word epithelial cell. What's an epithelial cell? Well, this is a cell that lines the surfaces of both inside and outside of your body. So in this case, the epithelial cell is the one found on the surface of the intestine. And we've got the intestine, it's mentioned here. What's the intestine? That's the organ found in the digestive system, and one of its main functions is to break down food and absorb it into the blood system. We've also got the term specialised. And remember, this tells us that this is a cell that is adapted to carry out its job. Now let's have a little look at the diagram. I can see we've got microvilli labelled here. And these are tiny hair-like structures that stick out from one side of the cell. And they're a great adaptation because their hair-like shape increases the cell surface area and increases the rate of the absorption of nutrients. And within the cell, I can also see some structures. And what you should notice is they've shown these structures here, and you might be able to see they've got an inner folded membrane, and that tells us they're mitochondria. Now remember, mitochondria are like little powerhouses because they release energy from respiration, and that energy is needed by the epithelial cells to absorb the nutrients from the intestine into the blood by active transport. Now, to answer the question about how this cell is adapted to its role, we need to start by saying what its role actually is. So let's start by putting that into words. So we can put the cell's role is to absorb nutrients. We need to say from where, so it's from the intestine into the blood. We now need to go on to link the features of the cell to its role. So let's start with the microvilli that we looked at, and we can say the microvilli maximize the surface area through which the nutrients can pass. And finally, we need to mention the presence of the mitochondria. So we need to say it has a number of mitochondria which provide energy and then we need to say that it's for active transport. Now we've made 3 points there, so that should give us 3 marks. The first to say about the role of the epithelial cell. The second point was talking about the microvilli and the increased surface area, which would be 1 mark. And the final mark would be for saying that it has the number of mitochondria which is needed for active transport.